Good evening, guys. If you can hear my voice, then just let me know in the chat. I was just having some technical difficulties before. Okay, guys. So, we will get going in a second. Apologies for the delay. I believe we're up and running now. But yeah, thank you for your patience. And apologies if it's just got a bit too late in the evening for you. But we are here, I'm pretty sure. Okay, guys. Good evening. Again, I think the issue has been solved. Just see if this will work now for us. Okay, cool. So, good evening, guys. Thank you for your patience whilst you were waiting for this live to begin. I know we're a little bit late, was having some technical difficulties, but I can promise you that if you're watching this live, it'll be worth it. And even if you're not watching it live, if you're watching it after the session, then it will be worth it as well. So today's live is going to be on tactics and analysis. We were going to do this a couple of weeks ago, but we had to move this to today. So we're going to look and talk about what scouts actually look for in football players. Now, I've worked as a scout and obviously as a technical coach, as a strength and conditioning coach, as a performance analyst. So I've got a lot of experience to tell you what each coach might look at. So I work with a lot of coaches in the professional game as well at the moment. So I'm always talking about what we're looking for in players, and we're going to talk about that in this episode. So I'm going to start off with a would you rather, just a little icebreaker, just to get the brains thinking. What would you rather do? Would you rather never watch football again or never play football again? Let's see if we can get some answers in the chat. Leave it in the chat, or if you're watching on YouTube after, leave it in the comments below. Personally, I think I would never play football again because it means I wouldn't be able to coach if I couldn't watch football again. So I'd have to choose never play it again. But yeah, let me know what you choose. So when looking at players, we are moving beyond talent. So you can have all the talent in the world, but are you actually making an impact on and in your game? So this is what scouts are looking at. They're looking at impact. They're not looking at the flashy things. Do the things that you do have an end product, an end result? So you might be really good at stepovers, but if it doesn't lead to a goal scoring opportunity, a goal scoring action, an assist, a goal in itself, then it's pretty pointless. So think about the things that you're doing. Are you doing it in vain, or are you doing it with an outcome in mind? And these are the things that scouts look for. What is the outcome of their action? Why have they made that decision? You might not always get decision making right, but if you've got a thought process behind it, then that's the right way to do it. So the 4 pillars of scouting. So these are the 4 pillars that every scout and every coach across the country is going to use more or less. And this is taken from the FA's 4 corner model. So this is used throughout academies, grassroots, semi-pro, professional football. And these are the areas. So we've got the technical floor. Now this is, as you might have guessed, your technical ability. So your first touch is the most important one. You've never seen a professional footballer with a poor first touch. So someone that can't do kippy-uppies, for example. So your first touch, make it stick, as this will unlock time on the ball, other actions as well. So think about how you're controlling the ball. Can you control the ball at speed as well? Not just stationary. So when you're on the move, can you take the ball in your stride? This links to the tactical. So this is now your brain. So your decision making and your tactical awareness. Are you in the right places at the right time around the pitch? So You might have all the technical brilliance in the world, but tactically, if you're out of position, it's useless. So think about where you need to be on the pitch, and also, are you arriving at the right times? And this will link to what we talk about later on. Physicality versus maturity. So this is the physical aspect of your game. So when we say physicality versus maturity, your body might mature as a 13-year-old a lot quicker than other 13-year-olds, but this is not necessarily an advantage. You might think it might help, in terms of getting scouted. Oh, they've already grown, they're going to be 10 feet tall when they're older. This isn't how it works at all. Coaches and scouts take height with a pinch of salt. Some players will have their growth spurts early, some will have them later on. So just because you're a short 13-year-old, a short 14-year-old, a late maturer, biologically, as we call it, it doesn't put you at a disadvantage. And to be honest, the early maturers, so the ones that have their growth spurts early, those are the ones that sometimes have the most difficulty with their game. So when you mature physically, it sometimes hurts their technical ability quite a lot because their bodies aren't used to, moving at those paces and speeds. So their technical ability suffers. So don't look at it as a bad thing that you've not had your growth spurts yet, and don't get disheartened. Goalkeepers, yes, it might hurt you more, but again, look at David Raya. He's one of the best keepers in the league, and he's not exactly the tallest, is he? So think about how you can impact the game with what you've got, the tools that you've got. The last pillar of the 4 pillars is the mental side of it. So the character. Are you a leader? Do you get put down when you make mistakes? Can you bounce back, and are you hardwired? Do you have that hard outer shell that no matter what happens, you can just keep going and keep on playing your game? At the end of this live, I will also give you a couple of bonus tips of do's and don'ts. So make sure you stick around for those. They're really important and things that a lot of players look past and a lot of coaches and scouts look at. So make sure you stay to the end of the live or the end of the video to get these do's and don'ts, which are really important. So we're going to go into position-specific guidance for each area of the pitch. Going to keep it very simple today. I appreciate we've started a little bit late, but we're going to start with defenders. So what do scouts look for when looking at defenders? The first thing for me is 1v1 dominance. Are you confident when you're isolated on the pitch? You're going to get isolated a lot in defense. So when it happens, are you reliable? Can you get your hips, your knees, your ankles set? And can you get your body position right? Are you close to the ground or are you standing up tall? Not really sure what to do. So your body position is really important. Are you trying to guide the attacker into traffic? Are you trying to guide them down a channel where they're limited, or can you put them into an area where there's no danger or little danger? So how you deal with 1v1s is really important, and the success in those outcomes, in those duels, is important as well. Next up, aerial ability. So again, this links to the goalkeepers. Goalkeepers haven't left you out. I'll do a separate video for you. Defenders, your aerial ability is important. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to be Virgil van Dijk winning every single header. Look at someone like Lisandro Martinez. He's very short, but he manages to always make an impact on the opponents when the ball's in the air. It might be a little push, a little arm in the back just to put them off balance, but that's including an aerial ability. You don't need to be tall to have an aerial ability or presence. That's a myth. You can still have an aerial presence if you're not the tallest player on the pitch. Yeah, you can think about how you affect the opponents, what you do off the pitch. Can you improve your explosive power to get that vertical jump up higher? And can you be confident and not be afraid by the bigger players? Next, this is an on the ball ability, and this is line breaking ability. This is a really important one, especially in the modern day of football. Most coaches and teams will want their centre backs, the defenders, to be able to play out from the back, and this is what that is, that ability to break lines. When we talk about breaking lines, we're trying to break the lines of opponents that are trying to prevent us from passing forward. So can you beat that press and play the ball into midfield, or even better, into attack? If you can find the forwards with a good pass, then it's even better. You'll stand out even more. So can you break lines? Can you be brave? But you also do need to keep the ball and not waste it. You will also get identified if you're just aimlessly kicking it and just trying to get rid of it. Obviously, there's times to get rid of the ball, but coaches and scouts will know when you're just being a bit hopeful. So pick your right times. Interceptions. So there's a famous saying, I think it was Paolo Maldini. He said, if you're slide tackling, you've already made a mistake because you're already too late. So think about how many times in a game are you slide tackling? Are you finding yourself tackling and finding yourself on the floor more often than not? This might tell you that positionally you're just that 5 yards, those 2 seconds a little bit too late. So think about how you can position yourself better on the pitch and arrive in the right time. So if you can get this right, then it will really improve the amount of time that you can actually make an impact in the game, because when you're on the floor after a slide tackle, you've got to get up, you've got to recover. And by the time that's happened, you know, it only takes milliseconds for attacks to form. You're out of the game. So can you be proactive, not reactive? Next up, we've got midfielders. What do scouts look for in midfielders? Number one, scanning. You've probably heard this term a million times, but what does it actually mean? So scanning is the intake of information from the environment in order to make better decisions on the pitch. And the 4 things that we scan for are bots, ball, opposition, teammates, and space. Those 4 things are the big 4 and the only 4 that you need to look out for. So what we do with that information is really important. So we don't just look around and have a look at the ball, tick, and the other 3 tick. It's about, can you plan 1, 2, 3 steps ahead? That's when the scouts are going to be like, okay, I can see that what he's thinking, why he's positioning or she's positioning themselves like that, or why their body position is like that. So think about taking in as much information as you can on the pitch. The more you scan, the better, but you need to do something with that information. It's not just about looking around like a headless chicken. Next, this is a physical one. This is transition speed. So if you struggle getting up and down the pitch, this is definitely something you can improve on quite easily just by doing some more physical work off the pitch, or in the gym, out of session rather. So your transition speed, so from defense to attack and also from attack to defense. Midfielders, you've got a very important role in this as well. It doesn't necessarily just mean running with the ball. It can also mean how you pass the ball as well. This can affect transition speed. So the types of passes you're playing, are they accurate? Are they aerial through the air, which give defenders time? Or can you play the ball on the floor, which is faster? Yeah. So think about the types of balls that you're playing through to your attackers. Balls in the air take time. When we think about crosses into the box, if it's loopy and in the air, it's going to give the keeper time to come and claim it. Whereas if it's a really flat, whipped in cross, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be really difficult to deal with. So think about how you deliver into the box, but also how you deliver on the pitch as well. It's exactly the same. Next, we've got ball retention. So this is your ability to keep the ball. So when you can't progress the ball forwards, can you simply keep the ball in possession? Not just about offloading the ball to your centre backs and then saying, there you go. Then can you create another angle in order to receive? This is where we might need double movements as well to trick and disguise our movements. Ball retention again, obviously, is obviously a very important one, which is why I've got it twice. No, we've got a mistake there. What was I supposed to have? Sorry, I made this slide late, so hence the mistakes. Bear with me one moment. I'll try and find the right one. Okay, I can't find it, but we'll move on. What did we have before? This is what it should have been. I just had a duplicate. So the last one is how you receive the ball. So your body position when you're trying to take it on the half turn is very important. So can you hop into your half turn and swivel your body position to go the other way? So this is something that I've done a video on. If you need help with how you do that, how you take the ball on a half turn, check out that video. When you can't take the ball on half turn, can you receive the ball safe side and just keep your body between the ball and the opponent? So again, that decision making, have I scanned and do I have the technical execution to take it on the half turn into space? So they all link. You might just think they're four completely different aspects, but they all do interlink. Attackers. So what do scouts look for attackers? Number one is explosive movements. So are you unpredictable and are you a live wire? If I'm a scout or a coach, whichever one I'm doing, I'm looking at how unpredictable is the attacker. Are they even tricking me at some points with their movement? And this doesn't just mean darting runs. This can mean double movements, dropping back, and just being an absolute nuisance. If you're difficult to predict as an attacker, it makes it so much harder for defenders. So try and be unpredictable with your explosive movements, and also try and save them for moments that you think you've got a real chance at hurting the other team, because obviously it's taxing on the body. You won't be able to run doing this like Jamie Vardy for 90 minutes or however many minutes your age group plays. So try and identify opportunities to hurt opponents with this movement. Next, this one links in with that. So when you don't get the ball after making a run, what do you do? I'd say 90% of players don't do this, and that is recycling their runs. So when we say recycling the runs, when you make the run, don't get the ball, where are you and what are you doing next? Are you just standing in an offside position, or are you then thinking about your next movement and next run? Can you get back on side, maybe for a bounce pass, a give and go, to then get back in behind? Or can you start your run where you just finished your last one and try and receive the ball, or just wait for play to move over to the other side or move over to your side? It's about being useful. You're useless if you're offside. If you don't play offsides yet, then it's definitely a good idea to start looking at some videos of how some players stay on side. So it's a really important aspect of the game, because if you're offside a lot of the time, you're wasting attacks and also you're giving the opponents the ball. So recycle your runs wisely, and make sure you're not just giving up and throwing your arms in the air when you don't get the ball at that first time. You might only get played through once every 5 balls for the runs that you make. So be persistent with it. Coaches and scouts will see when you make good runs in behind, or not necessarily even in behind. It could be going out to going back in to create space for someone else. It could be an underlap, an overlap. It really doesn't matter. But coaches will see this and they do look for this. One thing that they definitely do look for is finishing. This is an obvious one. When you look at the scoreboard at the end of the game, and you look at the goal scorers, it doesn't say what type of finish they did. They didn't say if it was a Rabona, a bicycle kick, or a tap in. Just the name. So think about just scoring goals by the easiest and most efficient way possible. What is the most direct way to goal, and what's the easiest way to get the ball past the keeper? A trick that a lot of attackers use is they don't aim at, I think this was Michael Owen's tactic, they don't aim at a specific part of the net. They just look at the keeper and look at how to just get the ball past the keeper, because once the ball's past the keeper, no one's going to stop it because you're going to have sufficient pace on the ball. So think about where the keeper will struggle to reach, because every keeper is going to come out differently. Every keeper has their own strengths and areas to improve. So think about where the keeper isn't and how can I just maybe just nip it past him at the last second and catch him off guard or her off guard. So finishing is, a lot of it is mental. Who's going to blink first, the attacker or the goalkeeper? Next is how you press. So they say defending starts from the front, and this is somewhat true. If your attackers aren't pressing wisely, or together as a unit, then it can completely disjoint the shape of a team. So try and work, if you're playing with a front two or front three, or even as a solo striker, how you press. You're often going to be the sacrificial lamb. You're not going to get the ball off of the first press. It's quite rare unless the defender makes a slip or a heavy touch. You're trying to force that next heavy touch on the next pass or on the next player that presses. So try and be selfless when you press. Don't expect to win the ball. Expect to drive the intensity of your team and the intensity of your press. How you drive and press will dictate how your teammate behind you goes. If you just go up with a jog, they're probably going to go with that same intensity. So how you go will dictate how they go. So what does scouting look like in 2026? So we know that there's been a lot of changes ahead of next season for youth football from the FA. So we've got a delay in the increase in numbers across ages. I believe under 7s, under 9s and under 11s, it's all been delayed 1 year now. So what does this mean? It means more small-sided games in training. So you're going to be playing in a lot smaller areas generally. So this is where you need to be a lot more comfortable on the ball and comfortable in tight spaces, because you're going to be training in it. So how this relates to your matches, you might play more possession-based football. I have a feeling a lot of coaches will do this because their training methodologies are going to be a lot smaller and a lot more touches on the ball. So that's what I predict for this year. But obviously doesn't mean don't look at other aspects of your game. But more touches on the ball, I think, is going to be a big pattern for a lot of clubs this season, or next season rather. Video and data. Now we have endless amounts of video and data that you can send to scouts or coaches if you like. There's no harm in sending your clips to teams, to scouts. In fact, I'd probably encourage it, because scouts are so often going out to singular games. They might be looking at just one player. That player might not tick their boxes. But if you can come to them and offer them something that they might like, then you're doing the work for them, really. So use the data that you've got, use the video footage that you've got. I use PlayerMaker in my sessions and all of my one-to-ones. I'd highly recommend it. You can use the link in the description. I've been using that for about 4 years now. I found that one when I was an S&C coach at Everton. So it's a really good piece of kit. And I love it because it gives you the technical data as well. So scouts will we'll look at the technical data. It's not just about the physical data. That's why I use Player Maker. So the technical side of it is very important with the data. And this is something that you might not think makes an impact, but the parental factor. Parents, if you think that talking to scouts will help your chances or help your kids' chances of getting scouted or selected, it's really not. And if anything, it might actually hinder their chances, from my experience and from viewing it from the outside as well. So let the kids do the talking on the pitch. Talking to the scout off the pitch will not help. Even if you think it's just a small conversation, try and keep it open and general. Ask them how they're doing, the things that they could do to improve, but try not to push them, and try not to be in the way of your child, who is the ultimate the ultimate goal here. So these are some top tips for how to get scouted in football, and how to improve your chances, rather, because there's no guarantee of getting scouted. So these are some things that you can do, and some of the things that you shouldn't do as well, in order to help your chances of getting scouted. First one is turn up on time, which is ironic, as I was late for this live today. But I was having technical issues, so I hope I've got some slack from you guys. But turn up on time. Try and turn up 10 to 15 minutes early, at least, before your session start time. If not a little bit earlier, but I understand you might have school, you might have other clubs, you might have siblings to drop off elsewhere. So, and it's not in your power. So try and be ready to leave the door at the time that your parents decide to leave, or maybe just ask them, can we go at this time, and see if they're able to. So that's very important, because if you miss 5 minutes in a session 12 times for from January to March, if you miss 5 minutes at the start of every session, say if you train just once a week, you've lost the whole session. You've missed the whole session. That's an hour of football. So little small habits make big impacts over long periods. So try and get into a good routine with your time, and this also helps off the pitch as well. Respect. Whether you win or lose, shake your opponent's hands, and make sure you're gracious in defeat. Respect is a very important aspect. If you don't show respect, if you're disrespectful, you're not even going to get a look in. That's not something that coaches or clubs want in their club. They don't want that toxic nature of players. They want someone who will represent the club well. So think about, you're not just there to play football, you're there to also represent a club or organization. Always look to improve. So coaches love when you ask questions like, what can I do to improve? What can I do to do better? How can I do better on this? How can I improve my first touch? Whatever it may be, can you always ask the right questions? Because coaches, scouts, they're looking at 10, 15, 20 players in the session. They're not going to get a chance to go around to every single player individually. So maybe just once, doesn't have to be every single session, maybe once a month, ask your coach, what can I do to improve? Don't worry about others' opinions. A saying I have is control the controllables. Do everything in your power to improve your performance. You can't control other people's opinions. Just worry about what you can control. And now for the don'ts. Muddy boots or kit. This sets a bad impression. First of all, so the things not to do to impress a scout or coach is to turn up with muddy boots. Big no, the academies will not accept you. They won't let you play. Some of them, most of them, if you come with muddy boots, and that applies to games and training. And it's not just about the principles and standards. It's about also the representation of the club. You want to look the part and you want to look presentable. Don't downplay others to make yourself look better. This is a common one, but it often gets put under the radar. But this is not something that you should be doing. Again, think about the things that you can do to control your own things. You don't need to talk negatively about other players, saying he can't even do this or she can't even do that. Try and just focus on your own game. If you can't do something, keep trying. If you can do something, keep doing it. So don't look at others. Always look at yourself first before you point the finger. Which links into the last one, the blame game. If you make a pass, if you play a pass that your teammate can't reach, don't blame them. Just say sorry and then move on to the next one. Also know who your players are, which is really important. Only the best players can do this, and that is adapt their game to suit others around them. If you've got a teammate that isn't the fastest, you're not going to put a ball into space for him or her to chase after. Try and think about how they want to receive the ball, where they want to receive the ball. Do they even want to receive the ball? If they're not comfortable on the ball at the back under pressure and the other team have a striker that's been pressing all game, are you going to throw him under the bus or her under the bus? No, don't do that. Think about adapting your game to support your teammates and be a better team. So that wraps up this live. Thank you for your patience with the technical difficulties. I hope you found this useful. Give me some comments about some of the things that you think I might have missed or some of the things that you were surprised about to hear scouts or coaches look for in players. And also let me know what videos you'd like me to do next and what lives you'd like me to do next. We've got a weekly cycle of strength and conditioning, tactics and analysis, mindset, and nutrition. So any of those 4 topics, if you've got anything inside any of those 4, let me know and I'll make sure I get it covered. So just on the side note before we leave, we've got St George's Park 2026 coming up around the corner, 2 months away. Early bird places are available until February the 14th. So make sure you click the link in the description or give me an email using the email on screen. And yeah, it's going to be a really, really good day. We've got hydrotherapy, we've got pitch-based S&C session, gym-based S&C session, mindset workshop, nutrition workshop, and generally just having a really fun day. We're going to be training at the exact same facilities, the exact same place as the England teams. In the same year as the World Cup as well. So exciting on that front. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for listening and watching. And I'll see you next week, same time.